This was probably the scariest episode of Dragon Ball Super for Vegeta fans, with that theory going around that the Elimination Order of Universe 7 was in the credits, so you have Krillin, then Tien, then Vegeta, then you see Vegeta get Mafuba'd. Vegeta fans must have been sweating bullets in this episode, and if he had been eliminated by Frost with a Mafuba, oh shit, dude, there would have been a hurricane of salt, the likes of which no one has ever seen. No offense, Texas or Florida. Joking aside, though, Dragon Ball Super, episode 107. Man, this was a great episode of Dragon Ball Super. Just getting right into the technical side of things. Great use of music, really solid pacing, except for one thing, which I'll talk about in a second. But great pacing, great music, like I said. Animation was really solid, but the star of this episode was the storyboarding and directing. It was storyboarded and directed by the overall series director, Nagamine. I forget his first name, or maybe his last name, however Japan does it. But his last name or first name is Nagamine. Great, great director. He directed film Z of One Piece. I believe he directed the Heart of Gold special, maybe, I'm not too sure. And now he's the current director of Dragon Ball Super, and just such a great episode directing-wise, and the storyboarding was absolutely phenomenal throughout. There's so many cool shots, like Vegeta blocking the Big Bang attack, the scene where Frost is talking to Champa, and you just have that great, like, the shadow being cast of that, like, weird window that he has there, and it just looks so cool, the nighttime sky. And then there's a scene where Frost is bowing to him, and as he looks up, it transitions back to the Tournament of Power stage. Really, really cool storyboarding throughout the entire episode, super solid. And like I said, the animation was able to back it up in this episode. It was some really good animation. I wouldn't call it phenomenal, but it's some of the best animation we've had from Super in quite a few episodes. Super's track record for this tournament so far has been, you know, good but conservative, with little bursts of greatness here and there. And this episode was just kind of like really, really solid throughout, like a really polished episode with a lot of snap and a lot of oomph to a lot of the attacks. In my professional opinion, of course, there was a lot of oomph to the attacks. But joking aside, it was a really solid episode from an animation standpoint. I don't know who supervised. I want to say Osamu Ishikawa, just because that's kind of my guess every time I don't know who supervised, because he's really like a bland, sort of on-model supervisor. Probably him and Toei Animation Philippines, if I had to guess, or him and some other outsourced studio were probably the supervisors for this episode. I could be wrong. He's not a bad supervisor, it's just, you know, I don't really... Anytime there's an episode where I don't really find a standout style from it, it's usually him, or maybe like One Pack or something. But with storyboarding and directing like this, anybody could have supervised it. Okay, no, hold on. Not Kitano. Kitano could not have supervised this episode. He sucks no matter what. But anyone else on Super's staff could have supervised this episode. I mean, the storyboarding and directing was just so good. As far as story progression goes, now I'm gonna talk about the pacing thing again, because like I said, most of the pacing in this episode is solid. The beginning of the episode is spent sort of not recapping who's been eliminated, but kind of talking about who's left. It's basically the Grand Prix saying, oh, this universe has this many fighters, and this universe has this many fighters. And there's a couple of little scenes thrown in, like Universe 3 wants to study Jiren, you know, they want to figure out what makes Jiren tick, they want to figure out the creature that is Jiren, and which, yeah, and everybody does. He's done almost nothing until this episode where he fucking one-punch mans the goo guy out of the ring. And then you have Beerus noticing that there's only 2 fighters left in Universe 4, but then the Grand Prix says there's 4 fighters, and Tien and Krillin are sort of discussing, like, you know, I sensed someone before, but we never found anybody, so maybe Universe 4 has some kind of secret strategy, you know, what's going on there. So they do, like, fit in little scenes of, like, the gods of destruction in the universe, the Supreme Kais, you know, started talking and everything, but it's pretty much just a here's who's left kind of thing, like a little recap, which is fine, honestly. Like, you might think that kind of wastes time in the episode, but for a lot of fans, especially casual watchers, they're not going to remember who's on which universe and whatever, and who's still in the tournament and how many people are left. So I think it does work in that regard, and it doesn't take up too much of the episode. And like I said, they do fit in little bits of character dialogue from Beerus and the Supreme Kai of Universe 3 to make it a bit more interesting. I already talked about Jiren, but let's talk about it again. Like, when he one-punched man that dude out of the ring, super badass. And I like the animation here. The animation throughout this entire scene is great. This dude showing up, fighting Dispo. You know, Dispo does like a little backflip before he lands his jump kick on him. slams him into a rock and it explodes. Really solid animation with, once again, a lot of kick to it. It's definitely not lackluster animation in this episode. And then Jiren, one-punch manning this dude out of the ring. Again, phenomenal dust effects and just really solid looking animation. It looked really cool. Then you have Roshi versus Frost, which I really liked. There was no power scaling issues. They didn't make Roshi too strong to fight Frost. He caught him off guard a little bit, but Frost was still blocking and dodging him. I don't think Roshi landed any hits on him, so, no power scaling issues. That's always good. And then Vegeta coming in, helping him out. The Mafuba situation, like I was joking about earlier. I like Frost's strategy. I like seeing him team up with Vegeta. Vegeta blocking that fucking Big Bang attack was... The fact that we got a Big Bang attack was cool, but Vegeta blocking it, that was such good storyboarding. I love that scene. That was so badass. Yeah, and he has like the earmuffs on with his lava, so he doesn't so he doesn't hear Vegeta insult him. Just, I love Vegeta so much. I want to see more of him. He's such a funny character. And can we talk about how clutch Roshi was with that Vegeta save? Like, he fucked up because Frost kind of coaxed him into using the Mafuba on Vegeta so that Frost could take the Mafuba from him and cast it on Vegeta. He captures him. He's in the bottle. Vegeta fans are sweating bullets. And then Roshi throws a blast, takes a whole bunch of hits from Frost, but then boomerangs the attack back, breaks the bottle. Vegeta's free. The highlight of the episode for me. Absolutely the best scene. It was awesome. The animation, the storyboarding, the whole setup. Roshi freeing him like that. I loved it. It was great. We got some good eliminations in this episode, too. We got the goo guy that Jiren fought, quote-unquote, just fucking annihilated. Then we got Vegeta and Roshi. Roshi was about to die, literally, from using the Mafuba so many times. So he needed to take a senzu bean, so he dropped himself out. I kind of like that Roshi's never been, like, beaten in a tournament. Have you guys noticed that? Like, he beat Goku in the first tournament. He quit when he was fighting Tien. He didn't actually, get beaten by Tien. He just jumped out of the ring. And then, of course, right now, he just fell out. Like, he didn't fight in the other tournament with Piccolo. And in this tournament, he just fell out of the ring because he was exhausted. I kind of like that detail. So 3 eliminations, pretty solid. And they were important characters, too. A member of Universe 7, a member of Universe 6. I wouldn't really call the blue guy, like, an important character, but he was eliminated by an important character, so that was cool. Also, the blue guy's name, I think it's Majikayo, or something like that. I might be wrong, because I don't speak Japanese, but when he grabbed Dispo, and Dispo said, "What's going on?" or he said, "What's happening?" or, he questioned what was going on, it sounded like he said Majikayo. Like, that sounds like the Japanese words that he said. And then, even the little blue guy, when he got eliminated, and he said he was like sitting on the Supreme Kai's hand, and he was like, seriously? And it sounded like he said Majikayo, so if Majikayo is like a word in Japanese for questioning something, and this guy's some weird goo creature, and that's like the pun of his name, is it's like question mark, like what is he? Like he's some kind of weird goo creature. That's a great name pun. That is, I could have totally pulled that out of my ass. Maybe they weren't saying his name when they were, because some Japanese words sound the same, at least for someone who's never spoken the language. So yeah, maybe I'm totally wrong, but if that's his name pun, I like it. That's really cool. But that's pretty much all I have to say about this episode. It was really fun. It had really tight pacing outside of the beginning, which still, it made sense to recap everything for casual viewers. And it was just a solid, all-around solid episode with really good storyboarding, really good directing, and really good animation. I'm going to give this episode an 8.5 to 9 out of 10. I thought it was a great episode of Dragon Ball Super. But what did you guys think of this episode? Go ahead and tell me in the comments section below. Give this video a thumbs up and share it on social media. Both those would help me out a lot. Subscribe if you haven't already, or if you like what you've seen here. Click that little bell to get notifications when my videos go up. I want to thank you guys for watching, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.